Now I'm unmuted. Okay. I'm going to call the Star City Council meeting to order. It's Tuesday, September 5th, 2023, 7 p.m. at the Star City Hall. If you could all please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, thank you. And tonight's invocation is being provided for by Pastor David Axe with the Calvary Church of Star. I think I say it different each time. So
it's all right. The Lord knows. Would you bow your heads in prayer with me? Heavenly Father, we come with joyful gratitude in our hearts as we look towards the celebration of the Constitution and the founding of this great nation. Lord, is with thanksgiving. And tonight in your word, you've promised that where we're lacking wisdom, you would give it. And so, Lord, would you bless with favor and understanding our mayor and council? Lord, that you would preserve the unity of this wonderful city and direct all that we do, that the generations to come that perhaps will never meet would be blessed because of what we do today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Axe. Appreciate it. Okay, roll call.
David Hershey,
Here.
Kevin Wheelock,
Here.
Trevor Chadwick,
Here.
Jennifer Salmonson,
Here.
Kevin Nielsen.
Present.
Is that a yep? Oh,
Yep.
yep.
It was a present.
All right. We're going to start off tonight with some proclamations. So I get to read these. So the first one is the City of Star, Idaho proclamation, whereas September 17, 2023 marks the 236th anniversary of the drafting of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through September 23rd as Constitution Week. And therefore I, Trevor A. Chadwick, Mayor of the City of Star, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through September 23rd as Constitution Week, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. Signed this 5th day of September, 2023. So this is an important week, or important, that week is an important week, obviously, for our United States Constitution. And, you know, a City of Star, we're very big on protecting that Constitution. So thank you very much. We have some ladies here from, you want to do a picture? Okay, we're going to do a picture up here in front with you, okay? Do what? Yes, right. That's the Daughters of American Revolution right here. All four of these ladies are part of that. All right, we have one more proclamation as well. The City of Star, Idaho proclamation. This one's a little longer, so bear with me on this one. Whereas we recognize our law enforcement officers, firefighters, EMS, dispatchers, corrections, coroners, chaplains, retired first responders, healthcare workers, clinicians, our military, our veterans, and their families as everyday heroes. And whereas these heroes put themselves in harm's way, protecting and serving our communities without hesitation. And whereas they are called to help, serve, protect, and save lives. And whereas their selfless work can take a great toll on their physical and mental health. And whereas over the past 4 years, we have seen a devastating upturn in numbers of suicides among these professions. And whereas Idaho is currently tied for 50th in the United States for having the least amount of mental health and wellness resources, and whereas we recognize it is paramount for us as a community to surround our first responders, members of the military, our veterans, and their families with love, respect, and the best resources available for them to maintain their mental health, wellness, and build resiliency. And whereas it has been shown that improving access to good mental health and wellness resources substantially affects their families' well-being, as well as the communities in which they serve. And whereas we honor and pay tribute to those who have been lost in the line of duty or died by suicide, as well as those who continue to keep the spirit of true heroism alive each day by serving as our everyday heroes. Now therefore, I, Trevor A. Chadwick, Mayor of the City of Star, Idaho, do hereby proclaim September 11, 2023 to be Elevate Our Everyday Heroes Day. Signed this 5th day of September, 2023. Thank you. So guys, our first responders and everybody, you know, it's a tall task in today's world for everybody to serve in our communities. So I appreciate these guys very much. And, you know, it's how fitting it is that our next speaker is going to be our chief that's coming up here to speak with us. So anybody do a picture with this one, Dana, or are we good? Okay, good. All right, very good. Thank you. So item 4C, we're going to have Chief Hessing up here. He's going to introduce our new school resource officer at Star Middle School and provide us with a July report.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members, City staff, Chief Zach Hessing, Star Police Department. I'm grateful for the opportunity tonight to be able to not only introduce a new school resource officer, but also for that Elevate Our Heroes. I appreciate you reading that. And I will tell you that the City of Star does a wonderful job in surrounding with love and respect for law enforcement. And I'm grateful for the work in such a great community. And all of you represent that very well. So thank you. Well, I want to take just a minute or two and introduce Detective Alan Takeuchi. I have him come up and stand next to me so I'm not alone at this pulpit. I hope Detective Takeuchi, right? That's it. I'm getting it down. We call him TAC, as most of us just call him that. I've heard a few call him that tonight, but you know, one of the main concerns that I have in the City of Stars are schools. Children always come first in my book, and finding a good school resource officer can be one of the hardest things to do. And part of that is because people get in this career because they want to make arrests, they want to be chasing the bad guys and doing those things. And to be honest with you, usually the school resource officer, you're not doing those things. Instead, you're going around and meeting kids, you're talking to them, getting good relationships, figuring out what safety issues maybe the school has, those type of things. And I really appreciate Detective Takeuchi and being willing to take this position. It's not an easy position. It's one of the harder positions we have, I believe, in law enforcement, especially in today's current what's going on throughout the nation. So I really appreciate him. Detective Rob Fowler used to be the school resource officer out in Star Middle. He's going into retirement, and I knew that was coming up, and I was afraid of losing him, but that fear is now gone with Takeuchi coming in and taking his spot. So I sure appreciate him. I've already been out there to school, walked around with him a little bit, knows quite a few of those kids. They're all giving him fist bumps and high fives, and they're getting to know him really well. And the staff seem to like him pretty well. So we're grateful for that. So I'm just going to read his bio here for a little bit, and then if he wants to add anything to it, he can add a little bit to it. So
You can't walk away without saying something.
right. Detective Alan Takeuchi was born and raised an Idahoan, growing up in Cascade. He has been married to his high school sweetheart for the past 21 years, and they have 3 children together. His son is in his 2nd year in college. His oldest daughter is a senior, and his youngest daughter is in 7th grade. His family has always been very involved in athletics. His daughters play on competitive traveling soccer teams. Detective Takeuchi is known to say that he is a part-time cop, full-time soccer dad. He does also coach youth soccer, basketball, and currently coaches high school track and field. Detective Takeuchi has worked in the field of law enforcement for approximately 19 years, starting in 2004. Throughout those years, he has worked in many different fields such as animal control, code enforcement, jail deputy, patrol deputy, field training officer, patrol sergeant, chief of police, and now currently school resource officer. Detective Takeuchi has been employed with the Ada County Sheriff's Office for a year and has seen the incredible support from the city of Star. He is very excited to be in Star and has told me he feels very blessed to be a part of such a great city, agency, and community. So I'd like to welcome Alan Takeuchi to the Star Police Department and to the Star family. Would you like to add anything?
Mayor, council, I really appreciate the opportunity to be here and meet you guys face to face. I'd like to think I have some experience in the administrative side of policing. And like what Chief said when he first got up here, no joke, like you guys hands down you can't run a police department without having a supportive mayor and a supportive city council behind it, as well as a community. It all works together like one fine-tuned machine. And without that, and unfortunately, I've been on the opposite side of that in throughout my career, and I don't see those shortfalls here. So I'm very privileged and honored to be here with you guys. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you. And I just say that you have the single most important job in our city though, right now with all these kids. And so I appreciate you taking that on.
Yeah,
Because,
absolutely.
I mean, that's the building those relationships helps us keep our community safe in the long term. So
Exactly. And the way that I look at it is if I can make a difference in one of those kids' life, or prevent a call for service for our guys out in the community,
Yeah.
had a little win.
Yep. So thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Move on to the
We have the report up for you this time. So
July report. Perfect.
Yeah.
I did make a few changes. I'll kind of explain those changes that we talked about last time I was up here a couple weeks ago. But one of the things, and just a reminder that the goals that we have, and I keep these goals in my mind all the time, is the make sure that we're keeping the crime rate low. We'd like to see that 18 crimes per thousand or below that. Currently, right now, year to date, as of end of July, is 172 crimes that occurred in the city of Star. For the month of July, we've had 8 person crime, 15 property, and 15 society crimes. The person crimes, it's kind of a variety of six different assaults. That goes from just a simple battery to domestic battery, and then 2 sex offenses. And then we did have, for the society crimes, we did have 14 different drug violations throughout the city, mostly off of Highway 44, making traffic stops and finding drug paraphernalia and drugs in vehicles. Proactive policing, I've always looked at this. So I always want to stay at least that 3 to 1, which is 3 proactive policing calls to 1 reactive police call, as I call it. So citizen calls for service. As a reminder, that's when a citizen calls for a deputy to come and to assist them. We had 371 for the month of July. And proactive policing, we had 1,348 calls, which is 3.63 to every 1 call of a reactive call. So we are being proactive. We're showing that. I think it is making a difference in our crime rate there. The only thing really to point out in the select call types, I noticed that our crash response did go up for the month of July. It's not the highest that we've seen, but it did go up by 6 to 28 crashes that we responded to. And then property crime calls did bounce from 18 to 23. A lot of that is kids going around and checking cars to see if they're unlocked, doing jockey boxing is what we call it, checking jockey boxes and see if they can take stuff out of it. So I just highly suggest that anybody that parks their car outside to make sure you lock it and don't keep anything valuable in sight. Number of arrests we had for the month of July is a total of 16, which 6 of those were DUI arrests. Percentage of drug charges for those arrests is 31% for the month of July. We had 3 mental health or mental hold cases. And then this is where the change comes in. I know last time we talked about, wanted to see what it looked like for in-star code 3 calls. That's lights and siren emergencies that we're running to. And then outside of Star. So as you look at that report, our goal in the city of Star is to be under 4 minutes. And for the in-star code 3 calls, we are, the month of July, we averaged 2 minutes and 17 seconds. And the total for the year so far, we're at 2 minutes and 36 seconds. So we're we're well below that 4-minute mark. Again, I still want to see it go lower because seconds matter when people need us. Outside of STAR, we had 6 inside of STAR code 3 calls. Outside of STAR, we had 15. That's where we're seeing kind of the difference last time of our code 3 responses being higher than 4 minutes. So that's 4 minutes and 46 seconds for the year. And then month of July, we were 3 minutes and 41 seconds. So that's any type of wreck, which I think some of those are obviously are wrecks out on Chinden and Star Road and also on Highway 16 outside the city limits that we're running to, and also helping out the city of Eagle and even Meridian at times with code 3 calls because we might be the closest. And just to let you know, when we do respond to those, we're getting there first. We're making sure people are safe, controlling the scene, and then as soon as we can leave there, when other deputies or officers get there, we then leave, and then there's not a report to write on those most of the time. It's mostly getting back in the city and helping out City of Star. So we don't take very much time to be on those calls. I still think it's really important for us to get there if we're the closest ones, if somebody needs help. So that's the month of July report. I'll take any questions if there's any questions about it.
Any questions?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Wheelock?
I just want to thank you for breaking out the local in Star and then the outside of Star City. We understand that we want to help wherever we're needed, but we're grateful to be able to see that in Star, your response time is incredible, in our opinion. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you, Councilman. I really enjoy. I'm glad talking with data analytics. I asked if they could do that, and they took a look at it, and they were able to separate it, which I'm grateful for too, because I want to see where we stand. Thank you.
Any further questions of Chief? Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, we'll move on to item 5, the consent agenda. When we make a motion to approve the consent agenda, we need to remove the final plat for milestone 6. That'll be done at a different date.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilwoman,
I'll move to approve the consent agenda consisting of item 5A, the city council minutes for May 9th, 2023 and August 15th, 2023. I remove final plat for milestone 6, but also include the claims.
okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second that.
We have a motion and a second by Councilman Hershey. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Salmonson,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
All right, that motion carries. Thank you. On the item 6, the public hearing with action items. This public hearing for the de-annexing an easement in Iron Mountain Vista subdivision is going to get tabled indefinitely, so we need to make a motion to do that. The property wasn't properly posted, signage, and staff has been unable to get a hold of the applicant on that, so we're going to table it indefinitely until they communicate.
Mayor
Good job.
No, you go ahead.
Councilman Nielsen.
I move that we table the public hearing for de-annexing an easement in Iron Mountain Vista subdivision indefinitely.
Okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
We have a motion and a second by Councilwoman Solomon. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Salmonson,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. Thank you. And just by the way, folks, we got Miss Barbara Conley here tonight, sitting in for Jacob tonight for our council meeting. So I'm going to move on to item 7, the action items. 7A, request for mediation. I think, Sean, are you going to talk about this one real quick, or I can talk about it? All right. We had Mr. Keith Hill request a request for mediation on the Dude DeWalt we start over. We did have the Mr. Keith Hill ask request for mediation on the Dude DeWalt project that we recently approved, and we also recently denied his request for reconsideration. There is in the staff comments and recommendations here a statute here that talks about mediation time limits told, whereas the mediation request has to actually, I believe, Chris, if I say this wrong, let me know, please. But I believe the mediation request has to come from the governing board since have already made a decision on the project. So you guys can see his request for mediation on this based on the fact that he had set up a church at his property, I believe earlier this year. Is that right? In May of 2023. However, it's my opinion that no mediation needs to take place because this business was set up back in 2011. We just simply annexed it into the city of Star. I don't know if Chris wants to say more about this or.
Maybe just add a couple things, Mayor.
Okay.
Any party can request mediation, but mediation only becomes mandatory if it's ordered by the city. And so you have a request in front of you. And so if the city council chooses to mandate the mediation, then both parties are required to engage in at least one mediation session. Once they do one, they don't have to continue further. If the city council chooses not to require mediation, the parties can still voluntarily do it, but there's no obligation for the party to participate. So I think kind of the question in front of you tonight is whether the city council wants to order mediation to occur. One other point that I think the mayor touched on is if there's anything that changes through the course of the mediation, then that will result in potentially having to go through an additional public hearing so the public has a chance to, for instance, if there's new conditions on your conditional use permit or something like that, then there would need to have another public hearing so the public has a chance to comment on what those terms might be. So it's not an opportunity to say, well, we've already got through the public hearing process. Now we can exclude the public. We'll just have a sidebar conversation. To the extent it affects any of the decisions the city made, it would have to go back through that process.
Okay. Any questions on this?
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilman Nielsen?
I don't know if I have a question, but I guess more so thoughts. Are you okay with
Absolutely.
that?
Yeah.
The city annexed this property according to our zoning laws and the rules of operation in accordance with all state laws as well. We zoned this property according to our laws. The use of this property matches what we have in our Unified Development Code. It matched before this application came to us. We didn't make any exceptions or do anything special to make it happen. And I don't believe that the city has anything to mediate.
I would agree with your statements there, and I don't believe, again, as I've stated, I have a hard time with the fact that the business has been operating with a liquor or an alcohol, beer and alcohol license for so many years, simply as annexing into the city, and then a individual set up a church at their house at a later date qualifies for the intent of the law anyway, as far as the setbacks and stuff. So I find that to be problematic, and I don't believe that was the intent of law state. So I would request that you deny the mediation request on this, because it would cost the city of Star extra money.
Mayor Chadwick.
Hang on, I'm sorry, Councilman Wheelock had a thought.
Let him finish.
Okay, go ahead, Councilman Nielsen.
My only thought was if this business was running prior, regardless of our decision, wouldn't they have some kind of a statutory or a grandfather clause that they'd already been operating?
Correct.
That takes this whole decision out of the equation, in my opinion.
Correct. Yes.
Kevin, you can proceed.
I move that we deny.
A second.
We got a motion to deny and a second by Councilman Hershey. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Salmonson,
I'm going to abstain, not because but I think that the decision that you're making here tonight, I agree with. So I am abstaining.
She was not part of the original public hearing or the request for reconsideration, so she's just being consistent with her message.
Right.
How about that?
Yep. Thank you.
Nielsen,
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Move on to item 7B, ordinance for Oliver Estates and a development agreement. So we need to introduce this and suspend of the rules. As soon as we find our little sheets. of
I got it.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to introduce and I move that pursuant to Idaho Code, Section 50902, the rule requiring ordinance be read on 3 different days with 1 reading be in full be dispensed with, and that ordinance number 3872023 be considered after reading once by title only.
okay. We got a motion. We got a second.
Second.
We got a motion and a second by Councilman Wheelock. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Salmonson,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. Now we need to approve the ordinance.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Hershey.
I move that we approve ordinance 387-2023 Oliver Estates and Development Agreement, file number AZ 2201, Development Agreement 2201, PUD 2201, and PP 2201, an ordinance annexing, I was going to screw it up. An ordinance annexing, that word annexing to the city of Star certain real property located in the unincorporated area of Canyon County, Idaho, more specifically located at 22491 North Canada Road in Star, Idaho. North Canyon County parcels R34 0000000 and R34 Alpha 1. And contiguous to the city of Star, the property is owned by Carol A. Storkin and Jeffrey D. Storkin, establishing the zoning classification of the annex property as residential with the development agreement and planned unit development R3 PUDDA as approximately 37.58 acres, directing that certified copies of this ordinance be filed as provided by law, providing for related matters and providing for an effective date.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Councilman Wheelock. Any further discussion?
I'm not reading the second one.
Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Salmonson,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. We'll move on to item 7C, the ordinance for due default and development agreement. We need to introduce it and suspend the rules.
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilman Wheelock.
I move pursuant to Idaho Code Section 50-902, the rule requiring an ordinance to be read on 3 different days with 1 reading to be in full be dispensed with, and that an ordinance number 389-2023 due DeWalt and development agreement be considered by after reading once by title only.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Councilman Hershey. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Salmonson,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. Now we need to approve the ordinance.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Wheelock.
I move that we
Yes,
that we approve ordinance 389-2023 due DeWalt and development agreement file AZ-23-02 DA-23-04 an ordinance annexing this to the city of Star certain real property located in the unincorporated area of Ada County, Idaho, more specifically located at 5446 Highway 16 in Star, Idaho, Ada County parcel S0328427,800 and contiguous to the city of Star. The property is owned by Trey and Joanna Butchart, establishing the zoning classification and annex of the annex property as rural residential with a development agreement, RRDA of approximately 32.5 acres, directing that all certified copies of this ordinance be filed as provided by law, providing for related matters, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second by Councilman Hershey. Any further discussion?
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilwoman?
So I just want to make sure I understand the process clearly. So, and this question's for Chris, because I have abstained for the other ones, but this is, that final step, the legal part of it. I believe that I can go ahead and I'm comfortable like voting for this. Would you recommend that, Chris?
You're certainly eligible to vote. This is a ministerial step that concludes all of the process the city has gone through. And so unless you had concerns with, some of those, I think it's appropriate to go ahead and vote on the ordinance tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Hershey.
Aye.
Wheelock.
Aye.
Salmonson.
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. On the item 7D, the access control system, we're going to have Mr. Shane come up here. What? You good? Okay, we're going to have Mr. Shane Dale come up here and talk to us about the access control system that we want to install at the Star River House, at the city. He's going to talk about the 3 places, and then you guys, if you choose to do so at the end, if you want to pick one of those 3, you can approve that with a motion, exercise that contract. Okay, go ahead, Shane.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before you have, we basically have established 3 quotes from 3 different vendors to provide access control equipment at, like he said, City Hall, the Star River House, and the Star Recreational Center. Each quote has all of the doors broken out. We estimated that there would be about 25 doors. So all of them are going based on that scope. We did a walk with all of the contractors to make sure everyone had the same scope. Basically, the goal is to provide access control specifically into City Hall for safety and security. It would eliminate keys at a lot of these buildings, especially for the bulk of our staff. The River House, the idea is to eliminate keys for the public. As it stands right now, we have a lot of citizens who end up with keys. They don't say do not duplicate on them. They could go duplicate those keys and then use the River House whenever they felt like it. Or they lose keys and things don't come back. Plus, our staff is tasked with getting them keys and access to those buildings. This solution would eliminate that. And we would basically just be able to issue them a code or a temporary access PIN. They would be able to get into the building. And then after that, their code would be deactivated once their time is done. And the building would be self-locked.
So talk about the 3 quotes then, I guess.
Okay.
And what your recommendation is to this council.
Yeah, so we'll start with the Ednetics one. Ednetics went through, and this particular set of hardware it's got battery operated for the doors, which makes them easier to install. However, there is a significant amount of maintenance where we'd have to go around and replace batteries every year or 2 years, depending on which ones we get. Along with that is some IPVS equipment, which they would install that would link to this system as well. Most of it is wireless, and it would cost us a significant amount to do the install. The next one here we've got, do you want me to go through the totals?
Yeah.
Okay. The total for this one is $144,989.44.
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilman Nielsen?
So reading through the Ednetics, it looks like they've included IP cameras.
Correct. That was not really part of their scope. We're not sure why they added that in, but we didn't have time to get them to fix it.
Can you break out what we're looking at to make that
So
same across the board?
you're probably looking at half on the installation and configuration services and add that to the Salto materials at the top. I don't have a calculator, but you're probably in the vicinity of 65 to 75,000.
For the total for them on the top part?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yep.
That answer your question, Councilman Nielsen?
I think it gets us in the ballpark. It would be nice to see that broken out because I don't see, the door controllers versus the IP cameras and also not sure if a lot of times those software packages you have licenses per camera,
Correct.
licenses per door. So there may be a bunch of things that are different.
Correct. However, with the cameras, their licensing is included in their IPVS.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
If we move on to CompuNet, they gave us a budget number. This needs probably to be further dialed in, but their total budget number for this was 75,000. Their scope is correct, so they have the right amount of doors, the correct licensing and access control equipment.
Would theirs require the batteries?
No. So theirs is a Genetec system. That system is all hardwired, so no batteries, no maintenance. It's simply a hardwired system, no maintenance.
Okay.
Would they have, sorry, Mayor,
No, go ahead.
would they have backup battery in case of power failure so that the door is still?
So
Okay.
the way that the system is designed, if battery or if there's power loss, you can still exit the building. So we've made sure that's the case with all of our access control plans across all of these quotes. There's no system that if we lost power, you would be locked or trapped inside.
So they're all mechanical and rather than the mag lock type stuff? Or?
Even if they're mag locks, we have crash bars in place that would allow you to get out of the building.
Okay. And this one, they did have 26 doors versus 25.
Correct. Theirs was a budget number based on 26. We had them shoot a little high,
Okay.
but one door shouldn't be too much of a difference.
Okay.
And our last one is from Royalty Electric. They have the same scope. I know their packet is a little smaller, but we kind of preferred them. They have a less licensing fees when it comes to the access control side. Also, it rides on our internal network and we're able to save some money because I can do the actual config in-house and we can manage it that way. The other nice part of this particular solution is that we can tie it into our scheduling system. So codes can be generated automatically from like an Outlook calendar. So we can tie those two together with their API. So it'd make a lot of things automatic and it would remove, Dana or somebody from having to remember to handle codes and get those sent out.
And what technology is this one based on?
This one's called InterRange.
Interrange?
InterRange, there's two N's.
Oh, interrange. Gotcha. Okay.
And do you know what sort of controllers does InterRange have their own controllers or are they using a third-party controller?
Nope, InterRange has their own controllers and it's their own API, so they own their own software platform. They've been around for a while, so they're not going anywhere. I think in the past we've had issues such as at the fire station where we've used Hikvision equipment, which you now can't get in the United States anymore. We're not going to have that issue with these guys.
Okay. Councilman Wheelock?
Yeah, does the fire station use the same, any one of these systems? Is that a similar tie together?
No, the fire station uses a system called Linear. It's a little more expensive and it doesn't have the web features that we need. The reason for that is they have EMS personnel that use some of their buildings and they all tie together in a different kind of way. They're also issuing different types of access cards. That system's designed to accept more frequency cards for them because the EMS is actually issuing them their own cards. So we had to find something that was going to be compatible for both with them.
Perfect. And what kind of cards does this system use?
This one's a 1350 megahertz encryption.
So is there a particular brand, or do they have their own brand, or they use HID, or?
They have their own brand. We can provide our own cards, but they were pretty nominal. We could get key fobs or cards. We were intending to do cards because we could print city IDs on them.
Yeah.
So the staff would have an actual badge.
So would our police officers be able to use the badge using at the fire department or their office, also with city buildings?
So the police would be able to use it at all of our buildings. We can do some cross-coding with the fire department, but their system, we have to make sure that they're going to be compatible is all. So, which would just involve me working with Victor to get him the card numbers that he needs.
Got it.
Which just makes it a little bit easier, I think, even for our police
Mhm.
when they're out
For
checking
sure.
facilities and stuff, they can just use their card that they have and get in and take a look, right?
Exactly. Yep. They can get into any of the buildings from the outside.
Yeah, they should have all access.
Councilwoman?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So my question is more about if the system is needed. I can see the need for at the River House and maybe at the rec center building, but just wondering about, like, do we really, tell me why we need the system at City Hall?
So security access.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with keys. Anytime someone loses a key, you have to get it all rekeyed. This thing, you don't. You could have the card access. The card access can be utilized to allow employees into certain areas of the building without having 14 different keys that we have out here. I think it's an important step. We need to move up in our world for security here in our city.
One question, Mr. Mayor. Well, Shane, could these be set to auto unlock at certain times or like high traffic areas?
Yes, that was another intent for City Hall, is that our main doors and the door into the permits and building department would auto unlock at 8 a.m. Someone doesn't have to remember to go open those doors. So that system's going to automate for them. We don't have to waste Eddie's time in the morning going around and unlocking things. He can stay on task doing what he needs to do.
As long as somebody's there to receive whoever's coming in.
Yeah, and I guess kind of back to my question, like I can see it for the front door, and the main entry doors into City Hall. But I guess like to actually have it for each office.
This actually wouldn't be for each office. It's more for exterior doors. And then it's going to be for common area type doors, such as when you walk into the building department, you have those two doors on either side. Those would be closed and secured.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any further questions? Which one do you recommend then?
I would recommend the Royalty Electric quote. They're the most cost effective. Plus, I already know the system. It would behoove us to go that route just for programming reasons alone.
Okay. Kevin Nielsen? Any questions on that?
That was going to be my question. I mean, not only are they the low bidder, but if it's your preferred solution as well, and I'm inclined to support that.
So Mayor Chadwick, just
Councilwoman?
talking about the budget also. So will this go into next year,
Nope, this will be this year's budget.
this year's budget,
Mhm.
right? And so
You're adding a budget line item.
Okay.
Is what you're going to be doing by doing this.
Okay,
What?
Make a motion. Mr. Mayor,
Okay,
make a motion that we take the recommendation given to us and approve the Royalty Electric, correct?
yes.
At the proposed bid of $50,000 and add it as a budget line item as well.
Okay. We have a motion. We have a second.
Second that.
We have a motion second. Any further discussion or questions?
How long does it take to install?
How long does it take to install?
Depending on the rollout plan and Royalty Electric's schedule, we're probably looking about 4 to 5 weeks to roll it out to every building.
That's what happens when you ask if you have questions.
That's right. Any other questions?
Chadwick.
Oh, here comes another one. Councilman Nielsen.
So great to add a budget line item, but which budget account are
It's
these?
going to come out of the general funds for us.
All right.
Okay. Roll call.
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Salmonson,
Aye.
Nielsen.
All right, very good. Thank you. Good questions from everybody on that. Moving on to item 7E, probably the best part of our agenda tonight. It's traffic box art. To beautify our city here. We have some pretty cool, are you talking about it? Is Sue, are you going to come talk about them? Did you want to talk about it, Miss Jennifer? Or?
Sure, I can talk about it.
So we'll have Miss Jennifer talk about what the committee did.
And if I miss anything, Sue, please come up and add whatever I forgot. So we did do a call for artists to submit artwork to wrap 3 traffic boxes here in town. One is in front of Albertsons, the other one in front of Maverick, and the third one at Star Middle School, with another option of doing the library book drop. So a number of, I think we had 25 entries, artists that submitted their work. And then we sent all of the submittals out to judges. I believe everyone up here was one of those judges, along with different community members, and they scored each piece. And so we took up all the scores and ended up with these top 4. The top one, I don't have my monitor on, so I can't read what it is. The first one is titled All Aboard by Mary Ann Fraser. And the Parts, Art, and Beautification Committee, we're suggesting that it goes on the box near Albertsons. This was the highest scoring one, and super cool design. So the second one is A New Generation in Memory of Phaedra by April McIntyre. The committee is recommending that one to be placed on the box in front of Maverick. And
This one's cool because if you guys recall, this horse and this lady here are in our 4th of July parade the last few years.
Yeah.
With a horse painted. So that's really cool to see.
yeah, and actually, if we go, thank you for adding that, Mayor. If you go up to the first one, that red building there is original train depot, and that's now the Border Town Coffee. And so there's definitely, there's some history.
And we didn't find any tracks in our Highway 44 project either. Digging up the road.
And I guess also to add each piece, we do recommend that they add a star somewhere in their piece. And sometimes it's very hidden. But this one, as you see, it's on the trolley. Second one is on the horse. And then the third one is A Star Barn, also by Mary Ann Fraser. And it's suggested to go at the box in front of the elementary school. And then the last one that we've included here is for the library book drop. The committee is working with the library. They're looking at adding some funds to the project. This box will take more funds to wrap. And so this is if we're still working out the details with the library on the funding. But if it goes through, then this will be the art for the library box. And it is titled Star Pride by Cassidy Crawford at the library book drop.
Okay. And then do we have a resolution?
Yes, there is a resolution. And so if anybody doesn't have questions, I'll go.
Anybody have any questions or anything on there? Okay, hearing none.
All right, then I'll move to approve resolution number TBD 2023, a resolution of the City of Star adopting the traffic signal box beautification artwork and providing an effective date.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second that.
We have a motion and a second by Councilman Hershey. Any further discussion?
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen?
is this approving 3 or 4?
Will you scroll down?
He's got to scroll down. You want Sean to scroll down?
Yeah, I believe it might be just the 3 for right now until we finalize with the library. So we may bring it back to council on that 4th one if needed. I think the funds have already been approved though. So I think we just wanted to include that one here so that you all could see it. But at this point, that 4th one isn't part of it.
Okay.
Is that correct, Sue? Yes, please. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to have Ms. Sue come up here. Just say your name and address, please.
Sure. Sue Spear, 620 South Streamleaf here in Star. So on that 4th box for the library did apply for a grant. The deadline was actually today from Arts Idaho. If they are successful in that grant, it would be a 50-50 matching grant that would pay half the cost of the box. So that's why we didn't propose a funding resolution for that part of it, because we don't know exactly how much the cost will be. They'll find out whether they were successful or not in about 3 weeks.
Perfect. So does that answer your question, Councilman?
It does.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Ms. Sue. All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Salmonson,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
All right, the motion carries. Very good. On to item 7F, the beer and wine license for Dude DeWalt Winery. We need to have you guys approve the beer and wine license for them since we annexed them in. We have to give them a license, otherwise they can't utilize it.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Hershey?
I move that we approve the license, but to also take into consideration the little memo that Jacob wrote saying that it's approved upon the fire
Correct.
the fire department's thumbs up.
Yep.
Or acceptance. So,
Okay, very good. You want to make that motion?
yes, I'll make sure I say it right though. Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to approve the Dude DeWalt Sellers application for beer, wine, and liquor license with the stipulations as mentioned in the city clerk treasurer memo dated 31 August 2023.
Okay, got a motion. We have a second.
Second.
We have a motion, a second by Councilman Wheelock. Any further discussion?
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen?
I'm not sure if it matters, but I believe this is only a beer and wine license, not a liquor.
I'm sorry, beer and wine license. You're correct. It's a beer and wine license. It does matter because liquor is a completely different animal for us on there. So thank you for the catch.
I was just reading the title.
Yep.
Yes. Amended such.
Okay, any further questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock.
Aye.
Salmonson,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
All right. That passes, and we're on the item 8, the adjournment